This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
No. Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Feeling good? Looking good?
Yeah.
Let's go. Kelly Clarkson has finalized her divorce, and she is gonna need her checkbook. So get this, the singer will pay her ex a massive one-time payment of just over $1.3 million, plus a monthly spousal payment of $115,000. Kelly did get both of their properties in Montana, but her ex will rent one of them for $2,000 a month until June. They couldn't work that out. The couples have 2 children, and they did agree to joint custody, but the kids will live primarily with Kelly in LA, despite that fact, Kelly will pay her ex just over $45,000 a month for child support.
Jeff,
so that's
I need you to repeat that.
Yeah, the train leaves Houston at 10:30 going. So I got $45,000 a month for the children, $115,000 for spousal support,
And then 1.3
just
million.
a chunk payout.
What kind of divorce lawyer did she have?
But then somehow they agreed, like, I'll give you $2,000 a month till June for the place.
That was really weird.
That's probably like renting out the garage at their Montana.
Maybe not even. Maybe not even. Like 2,000. I thought that was weird.
That's a lot.
Is this the point of divorce settlements? I thought they were supposed to be fair, and I understand that there's always going to be a financial inequity in with any situation. But does this make it? Why are we all so uncomfortable with this? It just seems like an exorbitant amount of money for a healthy adult.
What's going on?
Yeah, it is. Al's mic is like rubbing around in his jacket.
When Al goes, why are we so uncomfortable? I thought you were going to address the fact.
No, talking to me, it was super weird.
You know what? Because we couldn't hear you. That's why.
We got you now.
You know what's funny? I heard the wrestling, and all of us immediately looked at Tori to see what was going on.
That's right.
So I don't know if we heard you, Al.
It is
Finish
a lie.
that thought. Yeah.
It is a lie.
Basically, the thought was, was this the point of divorce? To make it, it
shouldn't be.
Equal. This is borderline ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, especially they weren't married for that
I mean,
long.
right?
You know, like, it just, there's something about him that, like,
Rubs you the wrong way.
I don't know. I don't know the man. I don't know anything about him. It's just his Q rating isn't great.
When Erica says that, let's bring it to where we can have a little conflict here. So when Erica says, he rubs me the wrong way, what if it was the male paying the female and the male goes, she rubs me the wrong way, she doesn't really deserve that money? You're a jerk by saying that.
That's not a gender thing. That's just like an individual. When I discriminate or pass judgment, it's on a very individual, specific basis.
It's laser focused.
It's that man. That man, I don't know about him.
Yeah,
but the general public is not like that.
And what if he was the nicest guy in the world? Would it still matter? Because I remember, Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold got divorced, and there was a lot of money exchanged there. We're just talking about human beings at this point. And I definitely get that there's a gender thing.
Yeah.
And I understand why these rules were in place, because they were made when women didn't have opportunities to employ themselves. So I get that. But now we're talking about a healthy person that's given $1 million off the bat, $115,000, and then just $45,000. I wouldn't even know how to spend
$160,000 a month.
How do you spend $45,000 on kids every month? What are you replacing the Yoo-Hoo with Chivas Regal? Like, what is Chivas?
I just can't understand.
Where'd you get that one?
High-end liquor. I don't know what's the highest end liquor you could think of. Queen Louis XIV.
That was good. No, that was good.
Just like, how do you do that?
It is. It actually. I totally understand your point, and I know that everyone's gonna say it's a double standard. And if it was a woman, but
you can't say you can't make that noise, because if I make that noise when I make a point, I'm fired.
Jeff, I say you make the
that's
noise.
not true.
Yeah,
You're the one who's like the
if I go Women's Day yesterday, I'm canceled.
That's different. What I'm saying is, I
that's
think
you. That's a very specific.
It's a recipe for failure, because anytime someone is given that type of money, especially when they did not play a part in you earning it, because Kelly Clarkson was a huge star before she ever married him. It just means that, like, after this is all said and done, homeboy might be broke. Because people, when you get money and you don't have anything to do with the way the money came in and it just goes out, It's a recipe for disaster.
$45,000 for child support. What are they eating? Gold?
Good one. All right, so let's move on. Do you ever dream about your exes? Drew Barrymore does. She recently revealed on her talk show that she still fantasizes about her exes, saying every 6 months she has the hottest dreams about them. Drew didn't say who specifically, but let's take a look at some of them to refresh our memory. She has been married 3 times, and her exes include Tom Green, remember him? Friend of the show. And art consultant Will Copeland.
Art consultant.
Friend of the show.
No, we don't know him.
And some of her ex-boyfriends include actor Justin Long, friend of the show,
Yes.
Luke Wilson, as well as director Spike Jonze. Friend of the show?
It's definitely Justin.
I was off that day.
I think it's Tom Green, and I'll tell you why. It's just that he keeps appearing in her life. He shows up on the show a lot.
A lot?
Yeah, he's been on several times. And
Really?
Yeah, and it's sort of this interesting, when they get on the show together, they just talk about like their relationship. It's kind of an interesting thing. There seems to be a flavor of star-crossed lovers of those two. So I think it is Tom Green, friend of the show.
I just wonder, like, do you guys have married folks? So I get it. But do you guys have dreams about your exes?
No.
No.
The thing is, the reason I believe you is I never hear any of my friends casually say, "Oh, it's weird. I keep dreaming about my ex from high school." Like, I never hear that. Seems kind of strange to me.
Because even if you do, you don't talk about it, right? I don't know why you need to put. This is like something. Again, I don't mean to disparage them, but like Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell,
not
they
asking
come
for
out with
this.
these weird
Right.
things that they have. It seems like this would be on their podcast, but it's like, why tell everybody that? Especially if you're in a relationship. She's not, right?
She's single.
So that's a different
'Cause she's very
situation.
single.
Because I think if you're in a relationship and you say it out loud, that's not cool. I wouldn't like to hear that about
Well, some
my
people
wife.
would say
saying
that that's honesty in your relationship, in truly connecting with your partner is being like, guess what? I keep dreaming about my ex, and your partner's like, that's interesting. I couldn't do it. I'm saying in general, adults, I guess, can.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to
Why?
hear that.
Al, seriously, out of everything that you have to discuss as a couple, a random dream about an ex is something you're going to bring up to your partner?
I think if it happened a few times, I think some people are very open with each other. I'm not saying I would.
I don't see the point. We have investments to talk about, like how to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Yeah,
I think Kelly's thing now is she was just on Fallon talking about she went up to a guy in the park who was cute and asked if he was single and just kind of talked to him to see if he was available. She's super single, and this is like her brand right now in her talk show. So I think she's bringing it up for that.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
What did I say?
Kelly. We were just talking about Kelly
my
Clarkson.
God.
Yeah. But she also has a talk show too, so some people might be
I
confused.
apologize. I'm
It's
weird
okay.
today. I'm sorry.
All right. Cameron Diaz is getting real about her beauty regime. She opened up about her thoughts on beauty during an interview on the Rule Breakers podcast. Let's have a listen.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to sort of like look at yourself and judge yourself against other sort of markers of beauty, And I think that that's one of the biggest things in the last 8 years, girl. I'm like wild. I'm like a wild animal. I'm like a beast.
Ooh, Cameron went on to say that she never washes her face and has 1 billion beauty products collecting dust in her home. She also said that the allure of Hollywood is such a trap, which she escaped following her marriage to Benji Madden back in 2015.
You know what I was thinking is you haven't really seen her recently, Cameron Diaz.
I think she gave up acting.
I think and this is all part of that package that gets to release from your shoulders is all that stress about it. I mean, she's a super gorgeous person anyway, like no matter what. But I mean, it's interesting she just backed out.
The stress of washing your face, though?
Well, I don't think that she really meant she doesn't wash her face. I think that she was just kind of like, some people are more of like 15, 20-minute get
With the
ready,
beauty regime.
and then some people are like just splash some water on their face. But I think that Cameron kind of represents someone who's seen The Wizard. It's like if you were the standard of beauty and sexiness and you were the it girl, like you've seen The Wizard, so nothing that that a lot of people are trying to accomplish to get that same type of cachet really works on you.
Yep.
So it becomes a little less like, this is what I need to be, and a little less like, well, if I wanna.
And it seems like almost like a rejection of what she's been forced to do. Almost, Jeff, it's weird. I think about you when you say like you play football football, so you had to lift weights, middle school, high school, and in college. And when you got done, you don't have any interest in that. You do yoga now, you do other things to work out. It's almost like, and a lot of my buddies that played, especially football and wrestled, which your husband did, you work so hard that like when you're done, you're done, and you never pick up a weight again. You never want to tackle anybody again because you were forced to. And I wonder if it's that same thing with her, where she's like you said, I saw The Wizard, I'm good here. I have no interest in ever even glancing that way. So I don't know.
That's a great analogy, but my husband and I wrestle all the time.
Yeah.
I'm also a wrestler.
I love El's.
Oh gosh, sorry, mom-in-law. Watching in Alberta.
Healthy. It's a healthy relationship.
It feels like a Friday on you.
I don't know what's
Coming up on DBL, who almost got the role of Forrest Gump instead of Tom Hanks? We'll reveal the other A-list actor who was considered, plus more stars who passed up on iconic parts. And what to expect at this year's Oscars? Well, we got a sneak peek. You got to stick around.
Closed captioning provided by tiny little lips.
Hi.
We were discussing in the beginning where the
wrestling.
I don't know if you guys heard that at home.
Yes,
I'm sure
you
you did.
definitely
Yeah.
did.
And everyone, you can show the camera at all of us. Everyone stared at me because they thought my mic was off.
No, Erica looked at me first, and then we both immediately looked at you. We skipped out.
Because it's usually somebody's jewelry or like a collar or something.
I thought it was the hair.
And it's weird. I've been kind of out of it all day. Obviously, it's late in the day now, but I don't know what it was, but they gave me my mic to put on.
And you didn't put it on.
And I just put it in my pocket and then didn't do anything else with it. I was like, I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel on this one. Yeah.
Jesus
So I just let my microphone dangle down there.
I was like, let me just get it for you. That's what we do. We get in there for
David definitely handed me my mic, and then I did nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the behind the scenes of what happened.
Don't you think Cameron Diaz is so naturally beautiful?
Yeah, I think
She doesn't need.
naturally beautiful, but she was definitely elevated as the it girl.
For sure.
And then especially when you're the it girl in a certain time period or generation or whatever,
Right.
then people you have to start to like beat yourself.
I know.
And it's like,
She's like, I'm not in that race.
right.
Yeah.
Like you have to like J-Lo it.
Yeah, right. She doesn't
Like
want to go there.
constantly reiterate.
Right.
And it's like, so for some people, that's natural, it's on brand. For other people, it's like, I actually just want to live another part of my life.
Yeah. What's your favorite Cameron Diaz movie? Obviously, There's Something About Mary. Is that it for everybody?
No.
God, that was a good movie. My parents took me when I got dumped to see that movie.
Your parents took you together when you got done?
They took us to see There's Something About Mary.
But she was in Boogie Nights, right?
No.
No, but like your
played
parents
another-
had like a you got
I
dumped
can't even name
movie
another
night?
Yeah.
Diaz movie.
Her name is Heather.
That was the most
Grant.
fascinating part of that story. Like
We're really
your mom
close.
and your dad took
Yeah.
you to the movie.
We're really close.
That's amazing. That is
the
amazing.
first one. That's right. That's a good one.
And what was it?
I mean,
Mask
she had a
Oh,
great
Charlie's
run as an
Angels
actress.
she was in
That's what she
too.
won.
Charlie's Angels. Which
Yeah, it's the Charlie's Angels one.
So, ladies, are you ready to host the Oscars?
Yeah.
We're gonna crush this.
We just have to do better than last year's host.
That is the thing.
That's-
Totally. It is a competition in
I
that
don't
way.
remember last year's host.
God, they must have sucked.
I bet they got canceled.
Trash.
Oh, wait, there wasn't a host last year.
Oh.
Or the year before.
Wait a minute, come on.
Or the year before.
Oh.
Boom, we're already winning.
I'm seeing Wanda Sykes everywhere because I'm watching the other two, and then I flip back to Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now she's hosting the Oscars. Good for her. So that was our first look at this year's Oscar host promo. It's the first time in 3 years the show will even have a host, and there's going to be 3 to be exact. The triple threat includes, we just saw Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes, and the show will air Sunday, March 27th. Who's excited?
I am watching this. I am actually going
be
to
Erica's
watch.
excited.
All right, I like it.
I am excited. I might even put on a gown. I love the aesthetic of this promo. I love the 3 of them together. I really, ever since this was announced, I just had a really great feeling about this whole thing, this team. I said this when it was announced. I believe that this team will be a repeated team for a few years.
I think that's the way to go. It's like we try and brand everything now, Tori, but why wouldn't we brand an award show with hosts that people are familiar with? I've seen this a lot in like live stand-up comedy. There'll be, usually when the show starts, there'll be one person to come out, but now there's 2 and sometimes 3 people that'll come out and kind of just, talk about the events of the day, goof around a little bit before they get the artist up there. And I think there's something to just seeing the camaraderie of friendship and that being crafted over the course of years of this show. So I think this is going to be like a staple. I can see this really working for a long time.
Yeah, I know Wanda Sykes well. I know Amy Schumer well. I don't know or Regina Hall. And I think she's going to be a big breakout, like which is what you said.
People have been sleeping on Regina Hall for far too long. Okay.
I like when people do the people. People do that. It's my favorite.
All right. Well, speaking of Oscars, Renee Zellweger is revealing how she stays grounded at the award show. She was recently on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and revealed how she entered the event in 2020. Let's take a look.
You walk to the Oscars?
I walk to the Oscars.
That's the greatest thing I've heard.
I sneak it because all the people come out and they stand and they're looking at the red carpet, so I come in behind all the people. Yeah, I sneak in behind all the. So this time, the only hotel room that was available was half a mile away.
You walked a half a mile to the Oscars.
I did, in shoes taller than this.
She also said it was raining that night, so she was extra grounded when she arrived. There were some weird faces when she was talking. You're not buying it?
I don't know if that makes you grounded. It's not like the beginning of 8 Mile. These tough treats all the way.
One shot. Mom's spaghetti.
Okay. Good for you. All right.
Well, it might as well be. You try walking around in 4, 5, 6-inch heels and full glam. What is she thinking?
Do you think that somebody may have arranged for a car service had she requested one?
Do you think that this is kind of, I get her point, but like, why? You're in really high heels at a very grown-up moment. Why not just get a car?
Because she wants to be grounded.
Really? Can you not ground in the car?
I want to relate to the common American person.
Okay.
How do you get to the Oscars?
No.
When you show up, like, what do you do?
Does anybody see? Here's another angle. It could be possible that she gets anxiety in traffic because the amount of time. Seriously,
she's
the amount of
half a mile away.
Yeah, but if a half mile and then it takes you an hour and a half to get there, I would lose my. I would probably walk too. To be quite honest, somebody would have to hold my shoes because I'd be wearing my Uggs.
Erica's reaching.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
You know what? You had me.
How long would it take a half mile with that Oscar processional of all those cars?
Don't you want that? You
Is that like an hour?
You want to absorb the moment.
An hour.
You had
in
me
a car.
Grounded. Get it?
Going a half a mile, that would make me batty.
In a fully loaded limo.
Yeah. Having fun with your friends, going to the
Sounds
Oscars.
terrible.
Let's speed this up. You're going to want to take your time.
I feel a documentary on Vice coming up.
Coming up on DBL, it's hard to imagine anyone else playing Rose in the Titanic besides Kate Winslet, but we'll reveal another actress who is also up for the role. That's coming up next.
I feel you.
From our experts and our research, we found that the United States only gets a small fraction of its oil from Russia, but we don't need to import any Russian oil for it to affect our prices because, as we found in the oil game, it's all from the same barrel. In several emails, viewers asked us, if the U.S. only imports a small fraction of crude oil from Russia, why are U.S. gas prices rising? Well, let's verify. To explain, we went to the U.S. Energy Information Administration and 2 fuel experts, Patrick Dahan from Gas Buddy and Sasha Mackler from the Bipartisan Policy Center. It might be hard to believe, but the U.S. and Russia are both in the top 3 of oil producers in the world.
While we do produce an enormous amount of the oil that, on a volumetric basis, that we consume, we are also sending a lot of oil overseas, and we are also importing.
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, in 2021, the United States imported about 3.3% of its crude oil from Russia. Really, not much at all. But that doesn't factor into the price of oil.
It doesn't really matter necessarily how much oil any country is producing itself and consuming, internally, because the price of oil is really set, on a global basis.
Oil's cost is measured based on the global supply. So any supply disruption anywhere in the world will affect the cost of oil. However,
it's important to note that we actually haven't seen a supply disruption right now. What we're seeing happen in the oil markets is nervousness around a potential supply disruption.
So to sum it up, oil's price is measured across the globe. Any supply disruptions or nervousness anywhere causes the price to go up. And since gas is made from oil, gas prices go up with it.
Welcome back to DBL. Can you imagine your favorite movie with different actors? Well, there are many reasons why stars turn down movie roles. Let's take a look at some of our favorites. Starting off with Halle Berry.
Cleveland.
Halle Berry.
While promoting John Wick Chapter 3, she said she was offered the role in Speed before Sandra Bullock, but she turned it down after reading the script and realizing the bus didn't leave the parking lot. She did say later she regretted her decision.
Oh, Sandy Bullock made that role. I mean, that made Sandy Bullock. I say Sandy like I know.
You really
like
do
Marty
like you guys had iced tea earlier today. Yeah.
Bobby De Niro and I. No, but I think, sometimes it works out for the best because that was just a fantastic role for her.
I feel like it always does. Yeah. So back in the 90s, Liam Neeson was being considered to play one of the most popular characters in the world, James Bond. In an interview with James Corden, he shared that his late wife said she wouldn't marry him if he accepted the role.
Wow. I wonder what the reasoning was behind
I would be single and James Bond.
No, they were in love, he and Natasha Richardson. And she probably didn't want all that fanfare that comes with being James Bond.
But he's Liam Neeson. I mean, he's a pretty big star.
I think you become a different person when you become one of the franchise. I mean, you're that way forever. You're that guy. You're sort of typecast. Natasha probably didn't want that.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she come from a Hollywood family?
Natasha? I believe so, and she's also an actress. So
right. So
I just don't know if she wanted that big of
Well, that's what I'm saying, that she might have had more. I'm just kind of pontificating, but she might have had more insight as to what happens when you go from an actor to a star.
Yes.
All right.
Isn't that the point?
I think so. Claire Danes almost reunited with her Romeo and Juliet co-star Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic. In an episode of the Armchair Expert podcast, she said she doesn't remember the details, but felt like she wasn't ready for what seemed like a life-changing role. Speaking of, she didn't want to take that next jump. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
That's okay. People aren't necessarily actors to become stars. People aren't necessarily doing anything to be at the very top of the game. Maybe there's a place where people feel more comfortable. And I love Claire Danes. What was that MTV show?
My So-Called Life.
My So-Called Life.
Jared Catalano.
Yeah, but come on, Kate Winslet.
I know.
Random Claire. I sat next to her husband on a flight one time. Yeah. I think he loved that. I didn't know who he was. I'll get his name. I forgot. But he gave me his name. I had his name in my phone and everything, and people do you know?
Is he as famous guy?
He's an actor, yeah. He's pretty famous, yeah.
Famous enough that you don't even remember.
His name, and then he was surprised that you didn't know who he was. That was the worst story ever out.
All right, let's get this last one and see if we can squeeze a couple more. John Travolta reportedly turned down the role of Forrest Gump.
Oh, good.
To be in Pulp Fiction. Ooh, I don't know. That's a good move. Both movies were huge successes, landing him and Tom Hanks Academy Award nominations, but Tom ended up taking home the prize for Best Actor.
But you needed Travolta to go that dirty route with Quentin Tarantino. You needed that comeback to be not Look Who's Talking To, but to be a gangster. So that remade his comeback. I got really deep into this.
I agree with that, though. I just wonder, who won in the end? Because what do they show more? They show Pulp Fiction. I think that's still more in our cultural zeitgeist.
No one has seen Forrest Gump since the day they left the theater.
They don't play that much on TV.
It is on all the time.
As opposed to Shawshank? No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I haven't seen Forrest Gump on TV.
Are you?
You should watch it.
Al, we need to get you more streaming services.
Dude, I feel like
I'm not looking for a 30-year-old.
I feel like a divorce counselor up here. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify. I was wondering about some of these emails that people forward all the time. The new one I got the other day was about, it showed a picture of a horse galloping, and it said if you saw it going forward, you were either left or right brained, and then the opposite for if you saw it going backward. Are these legitimate?
Hey Judy, thanks for your question. A lot of us have been told that everyone has a dominant side of the brain. Left-brained people are thought to be analytical and good with math, while right-brained people are thought to be more creative and artistic. The test that Judy referenced has more than 250,000 views on Twitter and claims to assess whether you're left-brained or right-brained. Now, before we get to your question about the test, Judy, let's start with the bigger picture. Are people either left-brained or right-brained? Our sources are 2 psychology professors, the Johns Hopkins Science of Learning Institute, and a study on left versus right brain dominance. Johns Hopkins and the Smithsonian Science Education Center say the left brain, right brain idea is considered a neuromyth, a common misconception about brain research. According to Johns Hopkins, quote, there is no scientific evidence that shows individuals use one half of their brain more than the other, or that being left-brained or right-brained determines a person's personality, learning style, or strengths, unquote. In 2013, a group of neuroscientists at the University of Utah studied the brain scans of more than 1,000 young people. While the scientists did find that some brain functions occur in one side of the brain or the other, they found no evidence to indicate that people have a dominant side of the brain. The Smithsonian Science Education Center says the left brain, right brain myth originated from a study conducted by neuropsychologist Roger Sperry in the 1970s and 80s. The study found that the 2 hemispheres of the brain are specialized for different functions. However, the center says those findings were misinterpreted to show associations between specific brain functions and personality types. So we can verify, no. People are not either left-brained or right-brained. So what about the tests like the one that Judy received? Well, psychology professor Dr. Indra Viskontas says the direction that you see the horse moving isn't a result of the left or right half of your brain. Instead, it has more to do with your visual cortex, located right here in the occipital lobe, which stretches into both cerebral hemispheres.
I don't think there's any evidence that extrapolates to any other aspect of the way you think or the way you behave or the things that you value.
If you see one of these tests on social media, psychology professor Dr. Roger Beatty has a suggestion.
Click the X button.
Well, there you have it. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Russia's economy is in a timeout. Let's connect the dots. Netflix has become the latest American company to cut ties with Russia, at least for now. The streaming giant suspending services over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Netflix currently has around 1 million subscribers in Russia. Other behemoths in the film industry, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, and Sony, have all delayed releasing their new films in Russian theater. Netflix also said it won't comply with a new Russian law that requires large streamers to host 20 Russian propaganda channels. TikTok also halting new video uploads and live streams in Russia in response to the country's new law. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Samsung have also suspended sales in the country. And that is connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. So we were just arguing in the break, what's more on cable TV, Shawshank or
according to
Forrest Gump?
avclub.com, it says, sorry, Shawshank, Roadhouse and Jumanji were the most played movies on basic cable this year.
Jumanji's great.
I'm with you, though, buddy. All right, that was a wild one. We'll see you tomorrow.
It
Maybe.
was Forrest Gump.